Alright, let's take a look at Newton's third law of motion. So Newton's third law of motion states that any body that exerts a force has a force of equal magnitude exerted on it in the opposite direction. So all that's basically saying is that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if a certain object exerts a certain force on another object, that object exerts that exact same force back on the original object, except in the opposite direction. So for example, if a pen is sitting on a table, it's exerting a certain force on the table, and the table exerts that exact same force back up on the pen. And if you're sitting in a chair, you're exerting a certain force down onto the chair, and that chair is exerting the exact same force, except in the opposite direction, back onto you. And when you stub your toe, you exert a certain force onto the table, and the table exerts that exact same force back onto your toe, and that's why it hurts. And if we look at the runner here, we can see that he is exerting a force on the road, and that road exerts the exact same force back up onto the runner, and that's what allows him to propel himself forward. And here we can see me standing on the bathroom scale, and I'm exerting a certain force down on the bathroom scale, and it's exerting that exact same force back up on me. And using this mass value that we can see here, we can calculate exactly what that force is. So if we take a quick look over here, we can see this equation: force is equal to mass times acceleration. So we can take these two values to find our force. And we can see this equation here, which says force 1 on 2 is equal to negative force 2 on 1. And all that's basically saying is that the force that object 1 exerts on object 2 is equal to the force that object 2 exerts on object 1, except in the negative direction. And I've chosen to define the downward direction as negative and up as positive. And so we can see that the acceleration of gravity is equal to negative 9.8 meters per second squared as it's going downwards, and that's our acceleration for this problem. And mass is equal to my weight, my mass, which is 78.1 kilograms. And then we can use this equation to figure out exactly what the force is. So we take negative 9.8 meters per second squared and multiply that by 78.1 kilograms to get that our force is equal to negative 765.38 kilogram meters per second squared. And this unit, kilogram meters per second squared, is also called a Newton, and so it's equal to negative 765.38 newtons. And then we can use a second equation here to find out the force that the scale exerts back on me. So I exert negative 765.38 newtons on the scale, and we flip the sign to get that the force of the scale is equal to positive 765.38 newtons. And that is a demonstration of Newton's third law of motion.